afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacaster. I'm your host, ImperialDane, Master Propaganda Hero, Strike Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to 1 vs 1 on Crossroads. In the South Guard here, Bornetosnipe. Fighting here for King and Country, the Commonwealth, also known as Vasa, a high-ranking player. Here fighting with Royal Artillery, Royal Engineers, and tactical support with double infantry anti-tank and bulletins versus in the north, the ImperialDane himself. Fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Taking on the role here of the 2nd Panzer Division here with Encirclement, Mechanized Assault, and Elite Troops with Stormtroopers, Group, and Pioneer Bulletins here. MD42 going to leave that here, rather conventional stuff from me. I have slightly thought about maybe trying double Pioneers up versus the Brits. That I think is less efficient. Quickly laying down sandbags around the cutoff point to make it easier to defend against any Tommy attacks. Dragging points here while at the same time as section moving up very aggressively here. So he's going to try and disrupt my opening here. Rare to see from the British players overall, but Bornetosnipe here overall seems to favour utilising, since again, if utilised aggressively, again, the British section in heavy cover obviously can deter a lot of sort of early infantry. So in that regard, while he is lowering his own ability to his territory, is putting me under a lot of pressure, pushing in with the Pioneers, trying to do as much damage up close to the Pioneers to have a chance there. Of course, they did take a lot of damage from the Lee Enfield rifles already. There we go. Taking too much damage. MD4 too much support here. Grenadiers being switched as well to assist here with the Tommies up close. Down to one man here. Need to retreat. MD42 joining in as the infantry section. And Grenadiers arriving as well. Second Grenadiers got their arriving. Third section out here for Bornetosnipe. Grenadiers pushing in there up close and ugly. And there we go. Got the section run off here with some well applied machine gun firepower. Second Grenadiers got their arriving, quickly securing the fuel point. Machine gun shifting about positions, expecting maybe an attack from here. Grenadiers heading down there, and the Pioneers moving back for reinforcements, which will of course delay me from getting other troops. Bornetosnipe following up the Universal Carrier. Can of course be used to sort of aggressively support the troops as well, being slightly bulletproof and having a decent machine gun, and can of course be upgraded with even better machine guns. Moving aggressively towards the centre here, realising he might not quite put as much pressure here right away, which would allow me to then secure the house and lock it down, denying it to him and actually denying him a strong point, thus giving him control over the centre and deterring him from moving about too freely. So overall there, achieved 2 goals in 1 strike, catching Bornetosnipe here off guard a bit. It does leave my western flank less well protected in some ways, since obviously can't support it with machine gun right away, but on the other hand, I can make it hard for him to just move about through the centre of the map, and that does have some advantage. We've got the Universal Carrier out here though, for Bornetosnipe there, flying over this little Bren gun there, mounted in the front. Blasting Retzer Grenadier, while a section is going for about a deep flank, very deep flank. You might think I have another machine gun here, though of course I'm getting another machine gun, it is not out yet. And there go Ludwig getting out there with a Panzerfaust and landing a very nasty hit. Then Universal Carrier almost taking out, and there go Vickers machine gun bunker actually suppresses here. Didn't think he quite had that range, or could quite far that way, but apparently there's just enough there for it. Section moves straight for the fuel point. Pioneers nearby could maybe disrupt it, with the Vickers following up there for Bornetosnipe as he moves up. He's actually got a section remaining down here. He's worried I'm going to hit his cutoff point, which is certainly a valid worry. Though in this case, I'm more trying to deter his movements rather than trying to, hurt his resources right away. Second MD42 following up there, grabbing points here. Section spotted, dealt with here by the Grenadiers and MD42, and there go, he hits my fuel point in the west. Though of course my Pioneers can quickly rush in and actually deal with them, since the section is not in cover. They also have a much slower rate of fire line. My Pioneers more easily close in on them and actually gain the upper hand, in particular with a slight bullet in there, which of course makes them a bit harder to hit. Not a lot, but might give them a slight advantage there in some cases. All the way up close to the Pioneers, continue to pursue the section. MP40s blasting away. Come on Helmut, you know you can do it. Just aim for their bellies. It hurts a lot more and makes them scream harder, which makes the rest of the Tommies even more afraid. Got the MD40 support here, penning into something up there. Grenadiers pursuing the Universal Carrier this time, though, with the Vickers K mounted. Got Encirclement here, allowing me to sprint forwards, but in this case, that doesn't quite work out as I get suppressed. But apparently, not suppressed enough to not prevent a Panzerfaust here. Almost knocking out, but not quite finishing it off either. Troops there shift away, got the machine gun remaining here, and the other machine gun being slightly shifted away there. Generally, you want to keep your machine gun shifted about there, unless again they're sort of controlling a really vital spot, just to make them harder to deal with, because again your opponent can't quite anticipate where they are, and that makes them a lot more powerful. Take up here, like to make a nice company up. For the same time, take up here for Bornetosnipe, troops reinforcing, noting no bolts at sections. Moving up the eastern side here, might try and flank up and hit my cut-off point. There we go, like to make a nice company up, Grenadiers reinforcing. could add a light machine gun soon. He likes his machine gun gewehr. And he's got his own Vickers covering here, so he's very, very worried about me hitting his cutoff point. And again, to an extent, due to the way he's playing aggressively, he sort of wants to keep that one sort of basically locked down so he can sort of worry more about, you know, hitting the rest of the map there. So that, I think, is sort of largely the reasoning there for Bornetosnipe, just always keeping something around his cutoff point. He wants to have that sort of, as a sort of safe space there in his mind, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Well, he then proceeds to hit my point. Got 2-2s following up there. I'm going for the 2-2 part because if he goes for armored cars, that can help deal with it as long as you get more than one. Plus, deals with the universal carrier. But also, finally, because the British do have weaknesses. And one of their weaknesses is they do not have sort of snares automatically. So a 2-2 will handle, in fact, a pair of 2-2s can be quite disruptive for the British. And lastly, I'm aiming for a couple of 2-2s so that way sort of try and head back here with some aggression and mobility. And of course, important note, he does not have special weapons, meaning he's got no way up to catching up to them. 6-pounder gunner following up here for Bornetosnipe. First 2-2 out there. MD-42 the dealing with the care, preventing from moving ahead. And pushing up the eastern side here against Bornetosnipe's forces there. Pioneers bring down here will soon encounter the Vickers machine gun. And we got the 2-2 rolling ahead here, the Leichte Panzerspeerwagen for the 2nd Panzer Division, also known as the Vienna Division, because the Germans generally had a tendency of recruiting their units from sort of specific parts of the Reich, and the 2nd Panzer Division was raised from, well, largely Vienna. It's a very sort of fun little detail there, which tends to get neglected. It's also why the Großdeutschland was known as the Großdeutschland, because unlike other divisions, it recruited from across Germany. It was basically a way of sort of ensuring full unit cohesion in the units as much as possible. That was generally one of the German sort of primary targets, because high unit cohesion meant they would fight harder and be a lot harder to rout. So by using stuff like that, could overall ensure the division had some just high cohesion. Got the 2-2 running against the section here. There you go, catching the universal carrier with the 2-2-2. Autocannon fire there, raking through the thin armour. It might protect against bullets, but it doesn't protect against 2cm high explosive rounds. And there you go, messes up a bit the pathing there, 6-pounder gun there, a bit of a tricky problem for me, unit Vickers they're flying away there, and in this case the smoke helps, the 2-2 escapes here. And then for some reason it stops up there to try and turn around there, and that cost me the 2-2. Rather unfortunate loss there, rather unfortunate loss. But that is pathing for you. Laying down tunnel mines here because I'm expecting some kind of vehicular pursuit, so having a few tunnel mines down there to assist with that is not a bad idea. Oh, securing territory, machine gun there, but I shifted up here. I want to kind of protect the fuel point as well. And with the 2-2 operating to support my infantry and don't necessarily need them so as much to sort of deal with it. Plus, I've sort of got him locked down to a small amount of territory, so it's more important I can sort of just keep those secured rather than just, you know, attack into smaller and smaller territory, but it's just going to be harder to deal with because he can focus a lot more of his stuff. So it's better just, you know, try to just set up defense of the more vital points and that way take it from there. At least in my opinion. Laying down a lot more telemines. I'm sort of preparing for any sort of kind of vehicular rush or armoured shenanigans here from him. Following up with a Pack 40 as well. I do know it helps sort of a decent amount of territory against him, but there's the Brits. Due to their natural affinity of just being able to take up faster, it can tend to mean less how much of an advantage you had there. So basically being able to go for anything, you know, just slow him down in case he does rush out vehicles or armour, will do you quite a bit of good. Point there secured. I know all that I got most of the maps here compared to Bornetosnipe here and the, oh I actually didn't give him the name there, that'll be the 11th or 51st Infantry Division. He's still yet to go for Doctrine though. Got the Panzer up, they can only field cigar, and there you got a bit of fighting here in these gun, these one with a light machine gun opening up there. In Sturmfire mode, if you will, basically fire from standing or moving position, which the Germans, well, their manuals had specific instructions for. Even if the Grenadier was a bit smaller than average, or shorter, he would basically be instructed to hold the machine gun in a slightly different manner. Riflenet goes off here and actually wipes the section. British infantry sections, if kept caught by a rifle grenade, actually slightly vulnerable to the rifle grenade, so that is also in fact another weakness of the Brits, which tend to, I think, get less talked about. Rifle grenades can occasionally wipe with a bit of luck. This case, quickly striking with the Stormtrooper squad, I realised his machine gun is over here, and so I realised, wait, that means his cutoff point is unguarded. And then I struck my Stormtroopers. In Meanwhile, though, I need to take up here. Generally talk about the virtue of taking up fast, and then I'm not doing it myself. A bit awkward. He is though going to be able to get out armor faster because, well, he overall did more harassment on me, and, well, I wasn't able to harass him quite as much. And, of course, furthermore, he just has to pay less attack and also less time to pay. I mean, in that regard, the whole having to research and then build, you know, is a lot more time consuming and resource consuming than just, you know, having to, you know, press a button. And, you know, there you go, your company command post is up. That is also one of the sort of the higher costs of the Wehrmacht when it comes to just their tech. Like, they just have to pay so much more on resources and time. And really, time is also a valuable resource.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Fresh push up the western side as I push down the east. Trying to flank through here. Sadly, you can't pass through here, so you have to go through there, meaning it's a lot easier to defend that way here. Got the 222D here to deal with the section there, and that you got again. The 222 is quite a valuable asset there to the British. And if you sort of find yourself struggling with them somewhat, a 222 or 2, generally 2 you want, sort of 2 of them, I find can sort of do reasonably well as long as you don't drive it straight to the anti-tank guns or anything like that. So quick counter-attack up the west side here. Sturmgewehrs on the way from my Stormtroopers. Hardened men of the 2nd Panzer Division. Men that all come from upstanding middle-class homes in Austria. Of course, breeding only the most vicious men. And there you go. Mine hit, though. Good work there by Bornetosnipe mining off that spot. There's so many players neglect this. Bornetosnipe does not. He does not. And that's definitely nasty. Up here, another move down here. We got the Vickers supporting. Already note there, he's using his machine gun a lot more aggressively than I am. And obviously, there's a bit to do sort of the nature of the fighting here. But that's definitely a nice move there overall by him, though in this case a quickly rush in the 222s and the tank is not ready to support. And there you go, catching that in the open up close. They can do quite a bit of damage there. And there we go, got that Vickers machine gun running along my infantry. The rest of the infantry move out freely and full of vigour. Centaur on the way for him. I've yet to build up my support armor core. Definitely need to get around to doing that. Mines down there from Bornetosnipe as well. Good position. Good position. In the west, they're grabbing the point here, with the machine gun just remaining there. I mean, it could try and operate more aggressively against him, obviously. Try and set up here, and that wouldn't actually be a bad idea, but overall, I'm just too focused on a few other things here, so I kind of forget about that opportunity. Plus, I'm still aware he's just going to then rush my fuel point here, and I don't want that to happen. Sabs there pushed away. Centaur almost done, following up with a second 6-pounder gun. So if I do get out armor faster than he anticipated, he will still be prepared for it quite well. So that's opposite center move here. Engaged here. 222 dealing a lot there with all the section members. Sending them scurrying away. Like Serad CR. There goes Stormtrooper going down the section. They got the 222 moving in. Up here, bunker going up for medical purposes. And there you go, got the center there bursting towards the 6-pounder guns ready to support, also coming the car point there. Gonna do is falling back a bit. Grabbing the fuel point here, at least attempting to. And there goes a Palmer Co-op. Can soon go for some armor. Panzer. Depending on the situation, I could of course go for the Stug here. But I find myself for this fight favouring the Panzer IV. Still has a lot of infantry, plus he's got a lot of anti-tank guns. At least I know he's got some. So I figure Panzer IV will be helpful in flanking them, plus whatever army's going to get out, you know. Might also then of course be sort of decently dealable with a Panzer IV here. Vickers setting up, Centaur moving in, and with that arriving here, I've realised my gun is a bit of a sticky spot here, and with the Vickers firing as well, the gun is pretty much have no chance of getting back here. Which of course is a bit the nasty thing about the Centaur, which a lot of British players apparently forget when they just keep comparing it to the Osprey and saying, you know, it's bad, but you know, the Osprey can't quite so well wipe a unit on a retreat like the Centaur, because it doesn't actually fire projectiles in that same sense, it just shoots. So it's less likely to get snagged up, I think. In this case, Telemine goes off, but I haven't anything to, you know, deal with it, so it doesn't do too much for me there. It does buy me time. He's shifting over towards here, apparently expecting me to rush in after it. I am not. I'm going to try and sneak up through here instead. Now there's sections blocking it off there. Got a Panzer IV on the way here to support the 2nd Panzer Division. And of course that leaves me short 1 infantry squad, which puts me down to the 2 minimum, which is generally not what I'm happy with. My rule of thumb when it comes to infantry is always have a minimum of 3 infantry squads. 4 is the preferable number, 5 is pretty damn good, but 2 is generally sort of a minimum you do not want to operate with for any sort of long-term time. So again, 3 is sort of the good rule of thumb number. 3 is the magic number when it comes to infantry squads. Then again, it becomes more magical if you go up to like 4 or maybe 5. Though again, 5 you are pushing it and 6 is right out. So sort of solid number is 3 to 4 squads, depending on the faction. Again, 5, 6, or 6 is even acceptable with some of them, like the rations. But for like the Wehrmacht, 4, good. 5 maybe, depending on what sort of type of infantry they are. But even then, you might be pushing it a bit. I got the Panzer here, pinned up machine gun on the way. Trying to use the scout kit to sort of suss out targets into the moving. They got mines as well, then in case he does have mines, which he obviously does have. We can't quite see them. To do supporting 6-pounder gun as well here. And to tank us there, ready to deal with my Panzer IV, and I just shifted away. Because I know he's got anti-tank gun, but not how many, and obviously you know he's always going to hang about that way. He wants me to, or anticipates me to attack, so obviously I sort of have the sense that he just... I probably shouldn't be attacking there with my Panzer. Following up with the Panzer Grenadier, I mean I could go for more Stormtroopers, but I don't have the munitions for more assault rifles for them, so I just go for the regular Panzer Grenadiers. I know some players like them with G43s, but honestly I think not equipping a Stormtrooper with assault rifle you can is actually quite a big waste, since they just perform so much better with the assault rifle, in particular with tactical advantage, and they eventually feel just complete monsters. Here though, Bornetosnipe pulls a big surprise. He actually goes for the buffers. You generally don't see the buffers, in particular not part of an aggressive British player, but of course allows him to hold the terrain here, and that's going to be rather nasty, but very rare to see that actually, the buffers, very rare to see. Trying against the section here with the 222, they like to punch his speed wagon. Seems like he's setting up for maybe attacking the centre in a more bruteful and forceful way. And I'm bringing a mortar here, part because if I am to attack him, I'm probably going to need smoke, because once more, much shorter amount of territory, they're making it a lot harder for me to outmaneuver and catch him off guard, so I have to rely more on, just smoke, and that way punishing him for bunching up his stuff too close. And that way just rushing him with that. Got the centre moving up, machine gun being attacked, Panzer moving up to cover the flanks here, Stormtroopers as well, Panzer IV, Pack 40 as well here. Got the mortar out and up close here, section Storms there pushing back. Push back there, we've got the centre moving up, quickly shifting everything there, anti-tank and shooting at the Panzer IV, one shot goes off rather aggressively there. And the centre there pulling back across the mine, so obviously he's trying to bait me, but of course I know there's a mine there most likely. He laid down one. And the really sneaky players will always lay down more than one mine on a good spot, so I rather will not take the bait there for very obvious reasons. Section they're getting guarded here by the Panzer IV and the Stormtroopers. Yeah, look at those cowards run. Yeah, just because we have Sturmgewehrs and they have bolt action. He's shifting up both the anti-tank to trying to catch my Panzer IV off guard. He's being very aggressive with them, and of course, aggressive anti-tank gunplay can, quickly do a lot of damage there. Got lucky there, almost hit the Panzer IV, but did not happen. That could have put me in a very bad spot. Very bad spot. Centaur there, quickly falling back to shift my Pack 40, maybe a bit to deal with it. Machine gun getting out of the house. And we got mortar fire there. So far, not landing any serious hits, but it does put some pressure there on Bornetosnipe's forces. Getting to work down the Panzer IV and can soon go for a second one. I'm not going to go for Stug now, because with 2 anti-tank guns out, they can very quickly make short work of the Stug, and he just doesn't have a lot of armor otherwise, so I would rather prioritize more Panzer IVs, because the Panzer IVs can overall better, deal with the Centaur, flank the anti-tank guns, and still deal with infantry. In that regard, again, the Panzer IV just is more flexible. Getting off some hits there on the Centaur. Infantry out in the open, taking fire there. We got a mortar blasting away there. MD4 twisting up in the houses, suppressing the troops out in the open. Got 6 moving up the west side. Anti-tank guns there. Blasting away at the Panzer IV. Anti-tank gun wiped out there. Troops suppressed. Panzer gun moving up in front here. Vehicles opening up. And there you go. Almost landing the section, not quite pulling off. Panzer being suppressed. There's Stormtroopers flanking in here. Catching the section down the western side, pushing them away. and mortifying the troops bunched out in the open, causing huge casualties, destroying my anti-tank gun there with his own anti-tank guns. Rather poor spot there by me in the end. And certainly he's managed to clear the area here of my forces more or less. I mean, he can still prevent it from just easily going up there thanks to the mortar, my panzers and other elements, but it certainly becomes a bit harder here. Second Panzer IV going to move up here because, again, I can sort of threaten the area here, and it's going to be hard for him to get his anti-tank guns to hit there. And we got Royal Artillery Regiment here for Bornetosnipe. Could open up here for the Valentine for just laying down smoke screens and whatnot, but he does instead pop early warning for reconnaissance, getting a clear idea of my battlefront line, and might be also looking up for some targets there for concentration barrage. At the same time, he's going for animal tactics, so which means he's going to get airburst shells on him, which is only going to add some more pressure to me. Spotting ahead, he's going to try and see if I can't suss out his position of different elements. In particular, the anti-tank guns are my biggest worry. I really do not like those, and I want them dead. Meanwhile, he's going to fire around here on my machine gun and Panzer IV. Silence it with vicious British artillery. And again, there's pretty much been nothing happening, so really at this point I might consider shifting the machine gun, but there you go. Blinding on the Panzer IV machine gun there, wiped out. And there you go. Bornetosnipe launches a big assault up through here. Undercover the artillery as my elements are being pushed back. The 6-pounder gun is also causing a problem here. Again, they can very quickly take out one of my Panzer IVs. Pioneer's trying to capture a machine gun. That's not working out here. Slightly falling back. Trying to grab it there. Pioneer's retreating. Everything's setting up here. And it's around this point I realise I have a lot of munitions soon. And I also soon have access to close the pocket. It's not quite there, but there you go. Using here in this case breakthrough to just quickly charge through here. Outmaneuvering his anti-tank and using the tutors as well as part of this. I mean, breakthrough is pretty much just a mass blitzkrieg, which is why I love it. Stormtroopers, they're taking out a section there. Almost with their grenades. Tutu flying behind the anti-tank gets more to their push back. For some reason moved ahead there when I was trying to lay it on the smoke screen. Instead, it just moved straight into the mess there. Tutu knocked out the Victor machine up close. And there we go. Got the points as it took out the centaur. Calling in the Stormtrooper squad. Hitting the calf point. The plan has formed. Now I got the idea. Also, I need to get the Panzer IVs out of there. But as soon as I can get this rendered neutral, I will hit the button. I also lost it on the disc at some point over here. But there you go. Close the pocket is active. It is active. Achtung, Achtung. Fire frei. Sappers moving up there. Can put a bun grenade, which will catch some other troops on retreat here as well. There we go. And we got the Buffers over here just getting absolutely hammered with artillery fire there. He made it back with both of anti-tank guns, but he did lose a bunch there in the process. I think one sapper section, infantry section there. We go. Buffers also gone. And that's also pretty much forced him to retreat all his forces back to his base, which is very much an advantage. And there goes section moving ahead, but active running in range there of the artillery. And he doesn't realise it! Until it is almost too late. Almost losing an entire section additionally. To close the pocket. My favourite ability in the game. But with all of this, the battlefield has to an extent been reset. He now has to set up everything again in the face of my forces. Plus, I now have the arm advantage on top of all of this. There you go, Panzer IV's being repaired. And go for a third one, nicely adding more to my arm advantage. Stormtroopers hiding up here, getting ready to spring the ambush there on his force. And there you go. Up close and brutally gutting the section. Tommy is dropping like tea bags. Fixing up the Panzer IV there. Got two Pioneer squads now, Stormtroopers down the eastern side. Getting them assault rifles as well. Because more assault rifles mean more victory, as far as I'm concerned. But I love Close the Pocket. It is just, without a doubt, the most fun ability in the game. It takes setup and then just the payoff is just so amazing. There you go. Tactical advance in the section, almost scouting it there with the Sturmgewehrs. Biggest covering the eastern side there. Panzer IV's good to go. And I can go for a third one. I could also go for an Ostwind, but I ended up going for a Panzer IV because I haven't seen any additional armor, so I know something is coming in the armor department. And lastly, the Panzer IV, third one's going to be more useful there. And I still want to be able to deal with the anti-tanks in that regard. I also want more Panzer IVs. I also want more Panzer Force. Where's the machine gun in east? Finding in the centre, Panzer gun, his machine guns all blazing away. Mortifying where there's 7 kills so far. Third squad almost done. Stormtroopers being suppressed with the machine gun, and we also got a mine there by way at his base entrance. The other southern and the eastern one has nothing. Third Panzer almost done. And a few pioneers moving up there. Pioneer suppressed. And moving straight into a mine there if they're not careful. Mines being laid down there. Go Panzer taking hits from the anti-tank guns through the hedgerows. Third Panzer round. We got a Churchill away here for Bornetosnipe and the 51st Infantry Division as the 2nd Panzer Division just adds more armoured firepower to the field. Large smoke screen going down there. His anti-tank is moving a bit forwards. And now moving back through the smoke, by the way, meaning they're going to have a harder time seeing. At this point, I pretty much go in here. Another breakthrough assault, making use of the smoke there. At this point, it's almost weighing off, but there you go. One Panzer ultimately ends up acting as bait, drawing away the anti-tank gun from the rest of the incoming armor force, which then takes advantage of the chaos, quickly landing hits in the anti-tank guns, killing the crew members very swiftly, and gunning down the rest of the force. With this, in one strike, Bornetosnipe's armored forces have been, anti-tank element has basically been utterly decapitated. And he's got no way of resisting my 3 Panzer force. I mean, the Churchill tank is soon going to be there, and that'll certainly give my Panzer force some problems. And I also lost my pioneers right here because I wasn't paying attention. Rather unfortunate. But I will still have a lot of Panzer force. And, well, he's going to have a Churchill. More early warning here. Probably looking for targets to hit with the concentration barrage. But breakthrough is a really good ability, as you might have noticed by now. I mean, it lasts, I think, almost a minute or close to a minute, and it's just, full on, maybe half a minute. Oh, wait, rather long time for such blitzkrieg ability, and, used correctly, you just overthrow your opponent in a matter of moments. So I really like it. I really, really like it. Shot bounced off the Panzer IV. That was a bit lucky. Got the Panzer IVs moving in. Moving in, this will try and outmaneuver him. So there we go. But now both Panzer IVs are veterans who won. And that opens up for blitzkrieg on both of them, which only lasts 15 seconds. There's still some time, and there goes second one blitzkrieging up as well. Going to try and get past its front. He's moving towards his op. Going to try and bait in my Panzer IVs. But I'm turning the tables on it. I know what he's doing there, but rather than just allowing him to get away with it, I'm going to use the mines to damage his tank as well, and damage his engine, making it easy for me to get behind his Churchill and lastly to the rear armour. This is one of the cases where, I just turn the mine against him. In this case, I'm getting a bit lucky with the Panzer IV. They're bouncing shots off his Churchill. But there you go. Churchill goes down. And with this, Bornetosnipe has very little left. I got 3 Panzer IVs. The 2 of them will need extensive repairs. Also got a lot of infantry with assault rifles. So I've got mortars, pioneers. And this we get GG. Game over. A loss here for the 51st Infantry Division. The 2nd Panzer Division breaks its defences and forces them back. A victory for Germany. So there you go, a nice and brutal battle here, utilising close the pocket, Stormtroopers, breakthrough, sprint. I mean, the only thing it didn't use was break supply line, which is probably, I think, the weakest ability in the doctrine, but otherwise, really good doctrine, you know how to use it. Great use of Stormtroopers there, for me. I could have done with a half check, and obviously could have used some of my 2-2s better. I could have been more aggressive with machine guns, but this one I was just way too passive with by the end, so that one I could have done a lot more with, to be honest. Also, the other one, there were definitely some improvements there by me, and Pack 40 was also essentially wasted by me, so I mean, a lot of things that could be improved upon, but Vasa was suddenly here. Bornetosnipe was a very aggressive opponent, which certainly also had me a bit more worried, doing a lot of damage. And lastly, I was a bit more worried about him, particularly because I lost the previous match to him. So that was also causing me a bit more on guard against him. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, and comment on it. This is ImperialDane. Cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another episode. Also, big thanks to all my Patreon supporters, without which this episode would surely not have been possible. Thank you all and see you all tomorrow. Cheers.